Hello, everybody. This is Ken Faulkner, and I am here with another knife video. This time, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap up the 5 weeks of carrying 5 knives just because I am trying, and we'll talk about that. I know I keep mentioning that, but you'll see what I'm talking about. To not buy knives before Blade Show. And it did help. It did actually help. A lot of you guys know what it's like when you're kind of addicted to this whole thing. Uh, with any addiction, you kind of use it as a way to escape problems of everyday life. And boy, I do have some of those. Uh, I got a good life. I mean, obviously, I can buy knives. You've seen what my collection kind of looks like. It's not the greatest, most expensive, not the most knives of anybody, but I do have a lot of knives that I can enjoy, and I continue to want more, and that's just the way it is. There was a blade. Speaking of Blade HQ, this mat is from Blade HQ. I use it for my teardowns. And that's why I've been having it out for the Faulkner Five, because every week after I finish carrying a knife, I'm tearing it down, cleaning it up, sharpening it up, all that stuff. So got that mat out. Blade HQ, they had a shirt. It was like the year before last at Blade Show West. It's up in Utah. It's up near where they used to be located. I think they still have some stuff there, but mostly they're on the East Coast now. Anyhow, they had a shirt and it had something to say like the circle of knife, which was going from, find enough, buy a knife, then, one another knife, and then it just continues going around where you get your knife and then you start all over again with the next one. And you start over again with the next one. Anyway, it makes a lot of sense to me. It probably does to a lot of you guys too. I'm having a lot of fun with it, trying to keep it under control. Not always doing the best job at that, but at the end of the day, I am having a good time, and I'm still able to pay my bills. So the girlfriend's not kicking me out. She wouldn't do that anyway, but she would let me know that I'm getting out of control. Speaking of out of control, stop gabbing, get on with the knife. This is a classic. I got this one early on in my, because I've collected all my life, but I really started getting into the modern knives, the pocket folding knives, locking knives, all that stuff happened more around when COVID started to hit, and this knife was pretty big back then. Used to watch a lot of the Blade HQ videos back when was it Ben Pearson and Zach from Zach in the Wild. I guess he's retired from that channel now, but those guys used to be on there. They had a couple other guys, the guys with the ham hands. You don't mean names, boy, but you know what I'm talking about. Always fun shows, and they were always showing the latest knives. Obviously, the whole point of those was to show you what they have on their channel to buy, and it was a big influence on me back when I was first getting into knives, because I really didn't know what was out there, and they were letting me know what was out there and what I needed to get. And the Feldspar was one of those knives, and it is a great knife. I mean, it really is a great, just basic design of a knife. This blade shape is very slicey. It's nice and long. It's got a nice tip to it, and it's fairly supported, reinforced there, because it kind of thins out towards the end, what they call that distal taper, that slowly tapers, and then at the end it kind of is more abrupt, so that you have that tip that, even though from this angle it looks like it would be very fragile, it doesn't look so bad from this angle, and it does hold up. All this week, all these 5 weeks, I've been doing a little stabbing, which I don't, it's not normal. Every once in a while, you got, especially you're getting into a box or something, you may, usually going to be cutting tape or whatever, but you may have to stab into something to get some cutting done. But in these weeks, I've found a tree and kind of just gave it a couple shots. I'm not killing any trees, okay? Not killing trees, but just to kind of gently tap it in there, see how it does. This one did very well. This is D2 steel, and it's got a nice micarta handle. And the micarta takes a great patina. The D2, I'm getting some little spots on there. Sometimes, especially on the edge, because you sharpen it up, and then you got fresh steel there, and then that's where it's going to tend to corrode first, because the rest of it does have a stonewash coating that's pretty good, and that tends to have a little bit of protection, as far as I can tell, on the steel. CJRB. So I think this one, when I bought it, they didn't have that ARPM9, whatever that is. The steel is, that's their knife, their steel. So D2, because it's a budget, because it's under $50, as all these 5 beautiful knives here are under $50, because this is the budget version of the Faulkner 5. So anyway, it does get kind of you don't get that staining, really. I haven't attempted to stain it or anything like that. But you have to be careful, because I'll get little spots on here and I'll have to clean them up. But it's held up over time. I don't have not too much humidity here in Southern California. Even though we're near the beach, we've got the salty weather, we don't have a lot of humidity most days. Great grip on that micarta. It's that really good micarta. Good access. You can see the access to the lock bar, looking at it from the side. It's right out there. It's super easy. I mean, no complaint. You know, so many things about a knife you don't really even think about until you have a problem with it. And this is one of those knives that really doesn't have a lot to give you a problem with. You got good access to the thumb stud and the reverse flick. This one is fidget all day. There's only those 2 real methods of deployment, but because it's so satisfying, good detent. It just pops out there. I could try to fail it. Some people do that. It doesn't seem to want to do that. It wants to just come right out. No problem. It's got a decent sound, decent acoustics. Because it's micarta, that tends to dampen it a little bit. You got that pocket clip that's like pressed out of sheet metal or whatever, but it's fairly thick. Some of the ones, like I mentioned with the Beluga, it feels a little thin, especially right here where you got that hole to access the screws. It's a little thin, but this one here, a little thicker, just slightly, but it makes a difference. And it's got that nice design where it swoops up and then goes flat, so it's not hitting you. So the hot spot action on this one is really not much of anything. You can feel if that clip is there, if you're sitting there and thinking, okay, can I feel it? Okay. But if you're not thinking about it, you don't even notice it's there. I mean, it's a really well-designed clip. Obviously CJRB, maybe not obvious, maybe not everybody knows this, is associated with I can't think of the name, Artisan Cutlery. Artisan Cutlery has CJRB as their more budget version of knives. So when you have a company that has higher end knives and the more budget ones, you can always tell. It's kind of like we and Civivi and Syncut, that they take some of their knowledge that they put into their higher end knives and put it into their budget knives, where they do cut costs in order to bring it to you for the price, but you still get some of that quality. So yeah, this is a really great knife. I got a little bit of milling in there on the liners, nested liners. Took this guy apart. It got some gunk in there. Didn't notice a big difference, so it really didn't affect the action that much. It's centered really well. And yeah, it's a great blade for cutting, for stabbing. It's not that tip is not too high. So because of the fact it's almost almost a spear point, you can really get that tip in there. Pinch grip it, all kinds of stuff. It's got the length that I like. Let's see what we got. I'm thinking it's got to be 3.5 inches. It feels that way. Now even the cutting edge seems to be 3.25, but it's 3.5 inches of blade. But it does have that forward finger choil, which maybe not 100% full finger choil, but you can definitely get up there and just kind of pull trigger on the back of this. Because it doesn't have a flipper, you don't have anything in the way to put your finger here. So it works out really well for that. It's not too light, not too heavy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, don't have the scale out, but just telling you how it feels to me. I like a little heavier knife. So it's not one of these ones that feels really light. Now this one, the Serene, does feel lighter to me. It does have the aluminum handles, but you can see it very close to that same size. And we talked about that. It's a nice full-size knife, as most of these are in the Faulkner Five. But that's because it's my preference, and that's the kind of thing I like. So yeah, but it's a real good, for a big knife. It doesn't take up as much room. It's not as tall as some of these other ones. Definitely not as tall as the Beluga. Here's another one. I was talking about that Quiet Carry, the 9. This is another one that has that same kind of tall blade shape. Anyway, that's nice for slicing, but this has got more of the stabbing, more of the utility cut type ability while still having a little bit of belly. Hey, as long as we got them out here, might as well break out the whole gang. The Faulkner 5 budget, under $50. Not all of my under $50 knives. We kind of went through that at the very beginning, selecting it. But I think they were good choices. Maybe there are other ones that are better in my collection, but I really did enjoy going through all these. I enjoyed people's comments and reactions. I'm sometimes I don't get to responding and replying to comments as much as I like. I do read them all, but work gets busy sometimes. Life gets busy sometimes, and I get lazy sometimes. But I really have enjoyed it, and I've seen some good response to it. We will be doing another Faulkner 5 coming up. I'm going to take a break at least. If you saw my video yesterday, I got a group of knives actually sent in from a company, from a gentleman in the community, and so I'm excited about that. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and check it out. We're going to be doing that for like a week, and then we'll probably jump back in on the next Faulkner 5, which is going to be on the higher end, the No Limits Faulkner 5. And I'm excited about that too. So, and then by the time that's over, we'll be rolling in the Blade Show. I'll be most likely buying quite a few knives, and sprinkled in there, even though I've been trying not to buy, there have been a few rolling in. A couple packages showing up. Girlfriend's going, "What's this? What's this? What's this?" Oh, that's just this. So it's like that. But she's really she puts up with a lot for me. I try to treat her well because she treats me well, and it all works out. All right, guys, that's it for the wrap up. The Faulkner 5 budget. Thanks for going along on this little journey with me, and appreciate you all very, very much. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend and next week. We'll see you soon. Bye.